So, ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Bullis Gotti, back with another one. Well, this video right here, we're going to talk about Beanie Sigel. We're going to talk about how Roc-A-Fella, Jay-Z did not want to see Beanie Sigel shine. So, I watched Dame Dash interview. He spoke about it, and then I saw Bean's interview. He spoke a little bit about it. He kept it, politically correct, but he spoke his opinions on, how he felt. And I'm going to be real honest, being a fan of Beanie Sigel, knowing the history, when Beans came to Roc-A-Fella, he took Roc-A-Fella to a whole nother level. Like, people, they knew who Jay-Z was. They listened to Jay. But Beans made people listen to Roc-A-Fella. And when he came on the scene, from Reservoir Dogs to Crew Love to, all the drinks that he did, he was just that guy on the mic. Straight like that. This the dude that said on, the Nas joint, 94, I took the cops to war. Like Beans was like ahead of his time lyrically on the mic. So when you really look at Beanie Sigel and you say to yourself, like, what happened? Why Beans never went platinum or double platinum? Or, sold 3 million copies, sold 4 or 5 million copies, because he had top tier albums. The Truth is a classic. The Reason is a classic. B.Coming is a classic. Out the gate, Beans had 3 solid albums. I like The Solution, but to me, The Truth, The Reason, and B.Coming was like 3 solid albums that should have sold. And I always felt that Roc-A-Fella never put the promotion behind their artists, and especially Beans, because if you really look at it like this, right? Kanye West, Cameron had to go out their pocket to promote their projects, right? Kanye was on the show from 2002 to 2004. So his album was originally supposed to come out in 2002, and it never did. It was supposed to come out in 2003, it never did. And it finally came out in 2004, right? So to be on the show for like 2 years and not to drop your album until 2004, is crazy, right? And Kanye, if you watch his documentary, you see he was going out his own pocket to pay for interviews, to pay for the video shoots, to pay for everything to get his music heard, right? Now, you look at Beans. Beans was, you had Bleak, you had Beans, and before Beans got there was the Rangers, there was Mr. Bristow, who was over there at the time, Source Money, OC, Jazzo. These were the dudes that was, Tone Hooker. This was like the original Roc-A-Fella, right? Which at the time it was Team Rock, right? But when Beans came in, he took the Rock to a whole nother level. You know what I'm saying? And he brought that street element that the Rock really didn't have. They didn't have the street element that Beans was coming with. The element was like, it was close to Bad Boy. It was close to Rough Riders. It was like gritty. It was different. And Beans showed the world how much of a lyrical beast he was. Because it wasn't that many artists that you could say around that time besides DMX and, Prodigy and all the other dudes. It wasn't that many dudes coming with that street gutter rap. So when you really look at Beans and you look at his first album, that album was shelved The Truth was supposed to come out November 1999. It never came out November 1999. They shelved the album to 2000, which is why that album dropped in 2000, right? And Jay-Z, they put all the marketing dollars behind Volume 3, right? So by them doing that, Bean's album did not have any kind of promotion. You know what I'm saying? His album did go gold, but it should have had more promotion. You know what I'm saying? Which is why I still say that Jay-Z didn't want to see dudes shine at Roc-A-Fella. By him taking, Emilio's record to give it to me. By him, basically pushing dudes' albums back on his label, showed that he didn't want to see none of them Philly brothers win. If you look at Freeway, right? Shout out to Cam. Cam promoted Freeway on 106 Park. I remember watching 106 Park, and Freeway album was going up against 50 album, and they did not promote, Philadelphia Freeway. That album did not get the promotion that it should have gotten, and that's why I didn't do so well when it went up against 50. And Jay didn't even promote the album. Cameron, who at the time was the vice president, but at the time he was artist on Roc-A-Fella, and Freeway wasn't his artist. Freeway was Jay-Z artist. Jay-Z sitting next to Cam, and he didn't even promote Freeway. Cam got on the mic and promoted Freeway album like Freeway was signed to him. So it's always been like, in my opinion, it's always been a jealousy thing. It's always been like Jay didn't want to see, dudes shine. But most importantly, he didn't want to see Bean shine. Let's just be honest. If you really look at it, The Truth was a damn good album that should have did more. It should have sold more. The album should have never did what it did, numbers wise, and just how significant that album was, how great that album was, how well produced and well laced that album was, that it should have did more. People don't give Beans his credit, but Beans was the one that brought Kanye in the fold to Roc-A-Fella. Beans was the one that was working with Big Dog, working with Buck Wild, working with Kanye, and they crafted Beans' style, and then, in the second album, he worked with 88 Keys, Kanye. So it was like, Beans was like working with so many different producers, and his style was so melodic and just gritty that, Beans was just a problem. But I always felt that Beans didn't deserve to be at Roc-A-Fella. I think Beans was at the wrong label, because when you got somebody like Jay that's on top of the label, he's a boss, he's not looking to see Beans to win. He don't want to see Beans. He didn't want to see Beans to win because, like I said, every time Beans dropped the album, they always shelved his album. They shelved The Truth. They shelved The Reason. They shelved B.Coming. B.Coming was actually supposed to come out in 2003. They pushed it back. Then it was supposed to come out in 2004. They pushed it back. And then they dropped it in 2005. And B.Coming did not have that much promotion. Yes, he had the reality show at the time, and he had the State Property 2 movie, but it did not have the rollout that it needed to have. I felt like B.Coming could have sold 5 million out the gate, because how well laced that album was, the story on that album, the topics, everything, the song structure, everything. He gave you everything on that album. B.Coming is one of my favorite Beans album next to The Truth, but B.Coming was just so special to me. You know what I'm saying? Just records like Change Gonna Come, Look at Me Now, Once Again Is On, his joints. And then he got the joint with Pharrell and Snoop. It's like he had so many great records on there, but Roc-A-Fella did not promote. You know what I'm saying? I can't say his name, I can't say his big. It was really Jay-Z loyalists that didn't want to see Bean shine. You know, Beans was way more talented than Jay-Z lyrically. You know, I think Beans was better. He was a better storyteller. He was a better lyricist than Jay-Z. And the way he, like, spit on a record and how he, you know, spoke about so many different topics in the hood that the streets related to him, just like how the streets related to DMX, the streets related to Beans. You know, he was just that guy that spoke that real, you know, on every record, every track. And him doing that, you know, they didn't want to see Beans. They didn't want to, you know, Hov didn't want to see Beans, you know, shining, you know. And I always felt that that's why, like, when you see how he did Beans and how he was dissing Beans, you could show that the loyalty wasn't there. You know, Beans was a loyal dude, loyal player, but Jay wasn't a loyal dude, a loyal player. And I always felt that because Beans was competition, he sabotaged Beans. You know what I'm saying? He sabotaged him. He didn't want to see Beans grow to the next level in the game because, like I said, Beans was far none the best dude on the mic. You know what I'm saying? Feel It in the Air. Like, a lot of people don't understand the story of Feel It in the Air. Before Beans got that record, that was a Black Rob record. That record was supposed to be on the Rob Report, but Black Rob had got locked up, and then they passed the record to Beans, and Beans demolished Feel It in the Air. He did the damn thing on that album, you know, with that record. And then from there, he went on to do many other, you know, great bangers. Guess Who's Back, you know, and the joints he did with Jay and Scarface and many others. Like, Beans was just one of those guys that lyrically is outmatched and outclassed against some of these weird dudes that be spitting. You know, and Jay just didn't want to see him be great because he didn't listen to Jay. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, you know, Beans went through what he was going through because Beans was living beyond his means. And then, like, a lot of people say, oh, Beans was living beyond his means because he had 2 Bentleys. That's cool. You can say all of that. But Beans put 110% when it came to music and war, you know. And like I said, when you really look at this story and you look at how dude really was loyal and dude was really a real one, you know what I'm saying? And then how Jay did Beans at Powerhouse was foul, you know what I'm saying? To have Carlene call the police on him, to get him escorted, you know, to do what he did to Beans, I never respected Jay for that. And that's why I say, like, I was listening to Shorty from Philly that was on Bag Fuel, and she was 110% right, you know what I'm saying? Jay-Z was hating on Beans. You know what I'm saying? You can't sit here and tell me he wasn't hating on Beans. You mean to tell me that you put all the marketing, and the funny thing is, the same thing Jay did on Roc-A-Fella is the same thing Jay did on Def Jam. Took the marketing dollars and put it behind his projects. Look at Kingdom Come and American Gangster. He took marketing dollars that could have been used on all the different artists on Def Jam, but he chose to use the marketing dollars behind his projects, and that's what he did on Roc-A-Fella. He used the marketing dollars off the Philly dudes and used it towards his project. He heard a great record that them Philly dudes had. He took them, you know, and you see on Milio, he talks about how he took Give It To Me because that was his record. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to him and Beans, yeah, Beans is the best. You know what I'm saying? You know, people can say whatever they want to say, but Beans really was a frontliner, you know what I'm saying? Beans really was on that mic getting busy, you know what I'm saying? And not only getting busy in the streets, but he was getting busy on the mic. You know, you can't tell me that Jay wasn't hating because Beans had the talent. Yeah, Beans did a lot of crazy shit. Yeah, Beans did a lot of street shit. That's understandable. But when you really look at the whole, hatred towards this dude, it's just crazy because homie really been killing it. He was killing it back then, you know what I'm saying? Beans was really killing it because Beans was hungry. Beans coming from the streets of Philly, getting into the rap game, and he getting next to Hove, and like Hove got so much beef, Beans on him down during the beef. You know what I'm saying? So it's like some people don't like to see other dudes strive. And Beans was so loyal by default that, Jaden want to see, the dude that was the main spitter out the whole crew to win. You know what I'm saying? To win. And that's what people don't understand. You know what I'm saying? Because let's just keep it real. If you really listen to, everything, and you understand what I'm saying, it's like these dudes really, he just didn't want to see Son win. That's why when you hear when Kanye making statements about Jay, it's because he know what happened. You know what I'm saying? And people just don't want to understand and admit to the fact that Beans was the illest nigga on Roc-A-Fella. They don't want to admit to the fact that Beans' project should have never been pushed back. It should have never been, on the shelf. It should have dropped the month and the year that it was supposed to come out. But because Son didn't want to do that, they want to dirty Son name. But like I said, Son is a real cool cat. But it's like people just don't like the fact of what they can't get out of the situation. But like I said about the whole Fat Joe, it's like, yeah, dude is in there backstage and all that. And the dude's talking about some bullshit. But when you really look at it, Jones really do got a lot of young niggas that rock with him, you know what I'm saying? Just because he collaborate, with a lot of them. But when it comes to Beans, and this is why when the shit jumped off with Meek, this is why I say, like, Meek was a sucker, because you had a phone conversation, you was in the same room with dude, you didn't feel that way. And then when the thing didn't go your way, you go to the Source Awards joint, and then boom, Sonny, but this is the thing, right? When people really look at the whole street back in them days and how it was rough. It was rough. And then Beans came on the scene and he really was talking about the roughness of the streets. You know what I'm saying? He was talking about so much realness that was going on that they made sure they blackballed him. You know what I'm saying? Just look at the whole J-Lo and Ashanti record. That record was before Ashanti had the J-Lo record with R. Kelly. That was, that was somebody else that I know on Clubhouse burning. But it didn't have anything to do with that. It's just people felt too comfortable to say and make up shit about a nigga. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I say, a lot of these dudes don't understand that. And then when it goes to, what happened with Jax, and all that. Like, it's like, when you look at state property and then you look at D12 and you look at the lunatics, you just look at the lunatics, right? 2 members is gone, but if you really look, the main ones are still there rocking with Son. So it's like, Beans had the streets. Jay had the corporate, but Beans had the streets. Beans had the dudes that was coming home from jail that going through it, Some people who talk how they be talking and they don't know what they talking about, they just running their mouth. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, when it comes to this whole, when it comes to Beans and Dane, even them saying what they saying, I absolutely agree. You know, Dane, son ain't want to see, another black dude that's doing positive and speaking positive because they just love negativity. And that's what feeds and urges them. But when you really look at this whole thing, you just look at what people saying, and people is trying to get mad at the homie Clay Davis, but nobody told nobody to do that. You know what I'm saying? They upset because the success, the greatness, and all that, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't understand that, you know? They understand what they want to hear, and they don't understand all of what they need to hear. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, when it came to Harry D, and it came to Michael Bo Jackson, they understood that, I'm like an Orange Juice Jones type. You know what I'm saying? But I keep it real. I keep it on my gentleman tip. But when people be online and they capping and they trying to act like, oh, nah, son lying. Son not lying. Son, no. Because old girl was a pass around, and son wifed her. But not only that, like, let's just keep it real. Just look at the whole thing. Like, these people went online and tried to say and did everything they could, but that just shows you it is what it is. But like, back to what I was saying about Beans, Beans was just not appreciated. He was not appreciated by the peer group, like by Jay and his loyalists, because what is it that it's so hard to promote your artists? You know what I'm saying? Like I said, Cam sat on 106 Park. He didn't have to promote, but he did. Look at the Rock the Mic tour. He didn't give Beans his own set. He, dudes came in under him. So it's like he just didn't want to see them dudes from Philly to shine. He'll take their lingo, he'll take their slang, he'll take how they be rapping, but he wouldn't help them brothers be successful and be where they need to be. You know what I'm saying? And that's what people don't understand, because like I said, Beans was a dude that when he came on the scene, he just spit the truth and the realism. That's what he did. He spoke the truth and the realism. So dudes are going to hate regardless. But what they don't understand is, when all the dialogue said what he said, and even when Shane said what he said, it's a fact. New York City got so many rappers, it's not even funny. It's an overload of rappers. But the sad part is this, right? Is that everything that people work hard and build and all that is gone. So like I said, when it comes to this whole conversation about, who had better music and who had better album, I always say Paul Winfrey. I always say, him being a legend that he is, and I rock with Denzel. But we gonna be technical about a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, when Kiss came outside, he on his business. You know what I'm saying? And when him and Kiss was beefing, they both stood on their business. And it wasn't Beans beef. That's the crazy part. That was Jay-Z beef. Beans took that beef and rolled for his mans and went in on Mobb Deep, Nas, the Locks. He went in. He went in because he was riding for Jigga. And Jigga wasn't riding for him. Jigga wasn't riding for Beans. Jigga used the Beans as expendable. He didn't see Beans as, as a loyal dude and getting him a position. And that's why when you look at Yayo, you look at Uncle Murder and them, they gonna always be in position because 50 wasn't selfish. 50 wasn't selfish with that light. He let Yayo, he let everybody around him shine. You know, Yayo, Banks, Buck, you know, that G-Unit team shined. But when it came to Jay and he was signing dudes and you know, him almost losing his life and all that, you know, dudes still don't understand that. They didn't keep it loyal, you know. They didn't give him loyal. And then there's the same thing I said with all these dudes. You know, they keep forgetting how great Beans was on the mic. You know, how great his first album was great. But his, you know, that second and third album was crazy, you know? And that's why when people talk and they say what they want, they don't understand. You know what I'm saying? They don't understand what be really going on. Like I said, when it comes to dudes and they come to checker points and all that, and dudes say what they say, you know, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. And then that's what people don't understand. A lot of shit be crazy. But you gotta understand, he the genius that left, like the documentary said, the genius who left Marcy. He left Marcy and forgot about everybody out there. He didn't help out nobody out there. So it's like, it's a damn if you do, damn if you don't. You know, dudes ain't keeping it real because they got this hidden agenda with this, I'm a real street dude. And that's the problem, you know. And like I said, with everything that's going on and people, you know, they bringing up the conversation. But like I said, Beans was the one that carried Roc-A-Fella on his back. It wasn't Jay. You know, it wasn't Jay. Beans really carried the company on his back for a reason. You know, he always came through, and that's why I gotta appreciate, you gotta appreciate some of these dudes because they keep it a man. You know, and like I said, when it comes to, you know, Source Money and, you know, the others, you know, a lot of people that say how they feel about Jay, they have every right because, you know, Jay left Source Money high and dry, you know, and that's just the tip of the iceberg, but everything is like it's a violation because Hov should have respected those dudes' wishes. Like, look, Do It Again was never supposed to be a Jay-Z record. That was originally a Beanie Sigel record for his debut album. Jay heard the beat and he went on and did a freestyle to it. And that right there just showed me like, yo, how y'all doing this and y'all ain't supporting such and such? But you know, that's just how the game is. That's just how the game is. But people need to start, you know, looking at it like, yo, you know, all this what dudes are saying and all that, but they ain't doing nothing, you know. And like when it comes to, like I said, when it comes to them dudes, they brought guns and drugs and all type of stuff. But the thing is that people understand is it was just, you know, for what it was. But when it comes to people doing it for a fad and people doing it for a clout, it becomes no diggity, it becomes whack. And that's why I tell people all the time, man, you gotta be sure who you conversating with, because people be so fake, you know. But when it comes to, like I said, when it comes to Beans, put some respect on his name. Beans is a legend. And Beans should have got a Hall of Fame award. He should have got a whole lot of things because he was there and he's a veteran. You know, he's a veteran, so, yeah. You know what it is, man. It's your boy, Bullets Gotti. Salute.